poor Steph's thumb. Poor Steph, my thumb hurts, and Dillon Brooks is trying to hurt me. He's trying to hurt me. What the bleep? The Rockets took over the night, and it wasn't even close. It was a 15-point game, and it wasn't that close. I mean, they had to bring the starters. That was crap. When they're up by 30, and you got to bring your starters back in.
It's horrible, and you lose. I don't want to say that the team lost confidence, but you'd love to have that momentum of just a smooth ass kicking from start to finish carry over to the next game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ended up having to have a little run-in with between Alperin and a bench point guard who hadn't made it in for 3 games. You ended up having to have some drama at the end with that where the teams have to, and you may look at that and say, "Oh, I like it when teams." Yeah, that's fine, but they shouldn't even been in a game. They shouldn't have been in a game. The backups were an absolute atrocity. Ime's never going to them again. Never again.
Well,
not in this series. They were awful. All those guys. Holiday sucked, and he had been in the game earlier because Jalen got hurt. Reed Shepherd didn't do anything. He didn't really shoot hardly at all, but Reed didn't do anything. Just it was a bad performance by the bench, and they lost. They lost the bench. It went from 30 to 17, and Ime called timeout and said, "That's it." And he brought the starters back in, but the starters really weren't very good either. They got out-hustled to every ball. This is not the story of the game. The story of the game is Rockets played fantastic and shot the ball crazy good. They just had a game that they just didn't finish cleanly again, and it was just annoying. That's all. That's not the story of the game. I don't want to make it too much of the story because it really wasn't the story. The way the Rockets played was a story. The way Fred shot and Dillon Brooks, when Fred and Dillon are making those shots, you literally have no chance.
Yeah.
But you and I both went to the game, and the one thing that is just very, very obvious is the Rockets are actually a lot better than the Warriors. As a team, as a roster of talent, their 8 are better than the Warriors' 8. And I don't even think it's very close, to be honest with you.
No, the Rockets have been better in this series. They're the better team. They've got more depth. There's 2 players over on the Golden State Warriors, and that's Steph and Jimmy Butler. And Podziemski has his moment in the sun, but they're not as good as the Rockets. The Rockets are just a better team. Now they got to go and prove it. They got to go prove it tomorrow night at Golden State. And we'll find out whether or not they can. If they don't have the nuts to do it, then they don't deserve it. They haven't deserved it so far. They didn't make free throws. If they make free throws, they win this series. We saw I got a chance to just talk for a minute with Tillman last night. He was so pissed off about the refereeing.
Oh, last night? Or in general?
Yeah, in general. Well, I think he probably got an explanation about the Draymond crap that went down, and it didn't satisfy him. When he came over, I said, hey, I wanted to congratulate him on being an ambassador. He was confirmed, was it yesterday or the day before?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's an ambassador to Italy. But anyway, I just want to, and he came up and he was like, this refereeing, you should see the stuff that we're getting from it, about it, and this refereeing just sucks. And all I said was, yeah, except make free throws.
You tell him that?
Yeah, except you got to make free throws.
What did he say?
He actually had the second half was starting right away, so he ran off. He was like, Jerry, let's go. and he left, and he went out to the court. But I don't know that has the refereeing been that horrible?
Well,
the Draymond stuff.
Rockets fans always think it's horrible. I'm trying to, I don't know. It hasn't been at the front of my mind. I'm just looking at how they're playing and, not get out there to that shooter or where the Rockets are shooting. Well, Rockets are really on the boards. Rockets are getting beat on the boards last night. I don't know. The reffing hasn't really been at the front of my mind.
No, me either. And it's funny. And boy, they're all after the game. They're all told, poor Steph's thumb. Poor Steph, my thumb hurts, and Dillon Brooks is trying to hurt me. He's trying to hurt me. What the bleep? This is a deal.
It's on the front page of ESPN's
I mean,
websites.
yeah.
It's one of the early stories.
Wait a minute. I just saw a video of when James Harden had a bad wrist. Draymond Green actually trying to hit his wrist when James Harden had a bad wrist during that series.
I'm sorry, Warriors, but you have Draymond on your team. Pretty much everything you say is null and void.
No, we can't believe you.
Draymond is one of the worst the NBA's ever seen in terms of playing out of pocket. You know, the things he does are completely out of pocket. He goes out of his way to be a hockey player. I just no one cares about your crying. You've got an arch criminal on your team in Draymond Green, at least a criminal on the court. I don't want to hear it. I don't care about any of your complaints. None of us do. Nobody in basketball, no fans, no media, none of us care about this crybaby stuff that you do. Honestly.
Okay, so we got Dillon Brooks reacting. We got Draymond Green reacting to it. We've got we got the Spencer headbutt on Alperen Sengun.
Yeah. We got to talk about, look, we know the end of the game, they had to come back with the starters. But let's talk about the game. Fred VanVleet, another one.
He was good again, and that's a little scary because he's going to take a bunch of shots tomorrow night.
Well, as long as they go in.
I know. He is hitting them now.
But he and Dillon Brooks were hitting some, off balance. Dillon Brooks is hitting shots that Dillon Brooks doesn't usually hit.
But Dillon Brooks was more like that. Fred VanVleet, I don't know what the hell happened to him because he can shoot now. He was 4 of 6 from 3, 8 of 13 from the field, 26 points. What the hell? Who is this guy? Because that's not the guy we've seen all year. That's not the guy. Something happened to Fred. I love it. He switched bodies with Steph Curry or something because he is really good right now. Mm-hmm. Really good right now. He was 8 of 12 the other night. And now he's 4 of 6.
He was fantastic yesterday. The Rockets shooting percentage was insane.
Oh, look, let's watch the Lakers right now.
For most of the first half, remember, it was in the 70% from the field, over 60% from the three-point line, and over 90% from the from the three-point, and 90% from the free throw line. The Rockets, I made the over-under before the game. John said, "What's the over-under for missed free throws?" I said 8.5. He goes, "I'll take under." And I said, "Under."
Yeah.
What do you have? A death
wish? What happened?
It went under. I think they only missed 4.
6. 32 for 38.
Yeah. Even Amen made free throws.
38 free throws. That's why this thing that when Tillman said, "Yeah, the referees are terrible." Well, I think they've been terrible about Draymond. Draymond probably should have been kicked out of the game. That's a fact. But this is not a series where you're blaming the referees for being down 3-2.
Well, no, they're letting it go. They're letting guys play.
That.
No, that's in the Rockets' favor.
That's in absolutely.
You can't complain about them letting things go.
No, I think he's probably referring to the Draymond stuff. But you're cutting to the line way more than they are.
Well, you're attacking. They're trying to shoot threes. Boy, watching the Rockets switch off when they went to that 2-1-2 zone, man, were they good in that thing yesterday. They didn't lose their rotations. Everyone was getting closed out from 3 for the first half. Obviously, it got a little dicey at times. Actually, it got a little dicey in the second quarter, and then the Rockets. It went from 30 to 20, and then the Rockets expanded it again right before the half.
Well, they just were dumb. Listen, when they can play, you play like that. I get it. You're at home, and listen. I thought that was easy money. My boy likes to play a lot. He was like, "Which way you go?" And I was, "Are you kidding me? The Rockets are going to kill him." The Rockets, they need to bring what they had last night, though, to Golden State. You can't play. They've been playing so timid and so. I just don't get them at Golden State. Play like you did at the end of the season. Go in there with a confidence and a swagger. There's a little self-awareness here. I think at halftime, their effective field goal percentage was 95%. I've never seen that in my life. You're not winning that game. No, this game was over at the half. Down 27, the most that a Steve Kerr team has ever been down at the half. That is saying something. 27-point lead at the half, and it wasn't that close. It really wasn't.
Yeah, there's sound from Steve Kerr talking about their attitude in the half. He talked to Draymond and said, "Hey, we're going to give this 5 minutes, and if we can cut it down and maybe get the Rockets a little wobbly, we'll keep playing." But the Rockets,
I was surprised though when they got to 13 that he didn't put him back in there.
You know, you saw at times. You might have not seen it, but the broadcast kept showing Steph putting on his ankle braces because they were completely out. They
were done.
They were taking off pads, anything they do to get ready. So it would have taken a lot for them to put the guys in. Only Buddy Hield returned. He was in for a couple minutes and they took him out of the game. Just think, if I forgot his name, but if that guy could make a layup for the Warriors, he missed like 3 bunnies, maybe even more. What could the score have been?
Well, how about they kept getting the rebound though?
Yeah, but he kept missing.
25 offensive rebounds.
A lot of that happened with their backups.
Yeah.
It did.
It
It
did.
did. They must have had at least 14 at that point, like over and over. Think about this. The Golden State Warriors forced Ime Udoka, and I think he had to come in with his starters. They forced him to come back and play all these guys while Jimmy Butler and stuff got to rest.
Yeah.
In a game that had been
Yeah,
30
they're
points.
young though. I'm not worried about that. I mean, like
Yeah, but they shouldn't have had to. They shouldn't have had to play.
They better bring it like they did. But somebody said that Ime went to the bench too early.
I mean, you're not that much. I saw that. Do you think they're this big of misfits? Look who Golden State had. Golden State didn't have their starters in.
No, I know.
They had Knox, Santos. They had Pat Spencer. I'm going to say this one time, and we're never saying it again, and we're never bringing it up again. But right now, Pat Spencer's better than Reed Shepherd. Listen, they had all these guys. They had all these guys in who were backups. Why can't you
plays? Reed Shepherd doesn't. You want Reed Shepherd to come in after he hasn't played in 2 months, and now all of a sudden he's supposed to be better than Pat Spencer?
Well, yes, actually.
Yeah,
yes.
Pat Spencer wears an undershirt that's a different color and wears number 61.
So you guys,
and he has a mustache and a buzz cut. He's straight from the YMCA. Now he can ball. He's actually pretty good.
I could have told Shingun he didn't want that smoke because I've watched enough California Classic basketball where Pat Spencer shines. If you don't know what that is, that's actually the summer league before the Vegas summer league.
Wait, he plays in that?
Pat Spencer, yeah. Where else is he going to play?
He needs minutes. Where's he going to get minutes?
Where'd he come from?
I don't know
Pat Spencer.
I don't know what school he played at, but I've seen that
He
guy.
looks like a Penn State guard.
I've seen him.
Or a guy who works on the docks.
I've seen him, and I knew.
I'll bet he's Penn State.
Or Alpy should have known, but of course he didn't because he's not watching California Classic stuff. No one likes Pat Spencer on the other teams. He's always in something with someone.